Welcome back to the 10 Adventures podcast. Today we are talking about how you can have a family adventure. And we're not talking about just a regular basic adventure. We're talking a serious family adventure. We're going to talk about how to go on an incredible bike tour with your kids. And here to talk to us about that is Toby and Meg. Hi, Toby and Meg. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
I'm super excited to learn more. I do tons of backpacking adventures with my kids. I have never taken them on a bike tour. And so I'm going to be learning from you two today, and I might just end up with a bike tour next summer with them. But first off, what was the inspiration to go on a bike tour with your kids?
Yeah, the inspiration, it's a difficult one because we hadn't really until we went on one this year. But I think we've always sort of been into that side of stuff, traveling. We met in Australia when we were both traveling and sort of we had our own adventures. And then we sort of had children, which was another adventure. And we didn't want that to hold us back really. So yeah, it's something maybe we'd thought about for a while. We'd always gone on holiday with them and that. But we really like the idea. We like cycling. We live in the Netherlands, so we cycle every day anyway. We don't have a car. So cycle touring seemed like the natural option really.
And how old are your kids?
Our daughter is 5, she's about 6, and our son is 1, he's 16 months. So at the time of the cycle tour, he was 11 months and he turned 1 when we were on the tour.
Oh, this is exciting. So my very first question before we go into any details is describe the bike setup when you've got children that young, because that's totally different from, my oldest is 12 where he can ride the bike, and my youngest, he can ride his bike as well. You guys have a totally different setup. How did that work?
Yeah, so it was 2 secondhand road bikes, one from Decathlon and one was, I forget what the brand he was. But I think they were both about 200, 250 euros. We then found a secondhand, Fiets cart, they call it here, bike trailer. Tooler, which is a really good brand. So we're lucky with that for 50 euro, sort of nearby. So I picked that up one day in the rain after work. And we found another bike trailer for a dog. We just took our dog with us as well. In a second-hand shop, a Kringelwinkel in the Netherlands. A thrift store, I guess you'd call it over there. Mm-hmm. For about 15 euro, I managed to get that for. So, and then we picked up panniers, bike bags, and general things like that online and second-hand stores.
So your oldest child was riding one of those tag-along bikes, but where was your youngest? Was it in with the dog in the dog trailer?
We had both kids in the bike trailer. So I had the kids in one bike trailer and Toby had the dog in the bike trailer. But luckily our daughter, she's 5, but she's quite petite, so she sit quite happily next to our baby in the bike trailer. But it was a bit of a squeeze. It was definitely the last year she could do it, but she was quite happy. And we didn't cycle for more than a couple of hours at a time. So it's kind of like sitting in a car, really.
Oh, this is so cool. So, leading up to this, trying to figure out where to cycle, did you have a plan as to a route, or was it just let's see how far we can go each day and play it by ear?
I've always fancied the Rhine cycle route, Eurovelo 15. So for months and months prior to the trip, I was looking at that and researching that, and so that's a great route for families. It's flat, it's next to the Rhine, which is absolutely beautiful, and it's you go in the summer, it's perfect weather, good facilities. There's always hotels, always campsites, towns, cities. It's not really that rural there, so it was a perfect place to start really.
And how long of a journey did you folks do?
All in all, at the end, it was about 3.5 weeks, or 4 weeks, yeah.
So very few people get to have kind of that long with their kids on holiday, as well as, kind of in different places. Sometimes people might go away and get a villa for a couple of weeks, but changing locations every day. Did that length of trip change you as a family at all, or were you already spending tons of time together anyways, and this is just an extension of daily life?
I think we're very lucky with the amount of time that we get to spend together. So we both share like the work. So we both work 3 days a week. Like we alternate the days when we get to have the kids. So we already spend like quite a lot of time under one roof anyway. But yeah, it was interesting being together all the time, especially when we had to sleep in a tent most nights. But yeah, it was really fun as well. You know, like it's just always crazy. And when you're like out doing something like that, there's no chance of ever having like a bit of peace. And if you know that, then it just makes life so much easier.
I should know that, but every time we go backpacking, I'm like, why is this not tranquil? And I think you just gave me a lesson of like, yeah, the kids are always going to be running around and, screaming, and it's not a tranquil holiday.
No, it's really, but the thing is when you've got little kids, it's never really a tranquil holiday. Even if you're, I don't know, in this like all-inclusive resort, you're still like on the go 24/7, like either swimming with them or doing something. So you may as well do something that, I don't know, just an adventure for them as well, and a bit crazy, but yeah, just so fun. And like just so like our daughter, she learned so much about, because we used warm showers, like this platform that let people, we like kind of message people and they let us stay, and it was always like strangers, but obviously we met through the app. And our daughter was just like so amazed by these people's generosity, like letting us go into their homes and giving us food and a bed for the night, and they were always so kind to us and so loving towards her as well. And it was just, yeah, it was eye-opening in every possible way for us and for our kids. So yeah,
I'm really interested. I've never heard of a family using warm showers, and so
I know.
Is there like a whole separate user group of warm showers that are families doing bike tours, or were most of the hosts really surprised when you showed up with?
Yeah, I think we sort of tended to get more luck from other families or other sort of grandparents a lot of the time whose kids were out traveling. I think, yeah, we're probably more of maybe a safer option when you look at someone like us with kids and dog. So we had luck there. In the cities, it was difficult because in the cities it tended to be sort of young people in flats and apartments, and we were sort of turning up with 2 kids and a dog.
Yeah.
So we sort of we tend to avoid the cities. But the ones we stayed at on warm showers were, it was most of the families.
Yeah, it was.
And they were amazing.
It was so nice.
Yeah, Bike Town community was a big help along the way. Amazing.
Yeah, it just seems so much fun to all of a sudden you get all these kind of 20-something to 60-something solo cyclists usually, and all of a sudden you got a family with 2 little kids and a dog. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, I think most people said yes because they were so intrigued as to like why we were doing it and like what we were doing. I think they were expecting us to turn up like just completely out of our minds. But yeah, no, it was really nice, and we got a lot of insight as well from the people that we were staying with, which was nice.
Yes.
I think one of them even took you to like their local bar one night, and it was just like, it was just really nice.
With another couple that we stayed with who we turned up in Germany by Dusseldorf, and they're having it was their one night a year they have a big street party with all the people that live there. So we sort of got to get involved in their street party with all the other families, a big barbecue and beers and everything, which is completely unexpected. Well, that's what you get with warm showers as opposed to a hotel. You get those sorts of things, where you can never predict it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the incredible part. Now, I know what warm showers is, but I bet you a lot of the people listening may not be familiar. Can you maybe just describe how warm showers works?
So I guess a few years ago it was couch surfing, but if you don't know what that is, it doesn't help. I guess it's a platform, a website that you can be a user on it. You can have a profile, and you can take people into your home to give them a bed for the night or more nights, and food and water or beer. Or you can cycle around the world contacting these people to stay at their houses and be looked after. And it's essentially cycle tourists looking after other cycle tourists, which is amazing in itself.
And you guys mentioned you're camping. So would you just stay in the backyard and then just use, the facilities inside, or were you actually staying in the people's homes?
Yeah, most of the time we'd try and stay in the homes. That was great when we could have a bed and a shower and everything. Sometimes we camp in the garden. That's pretty rare, but to be honest, it'd probably work like probably camp 2 nights, stay in a warm shower 1 night. That was probably the ratio. We'd have to sort of campsite a lot because, if you're messaging people the same day to stay at the house that night or 1 day in advance, you ask a lot. So a lot of the time we did camp, which is...
And that was fine for us because we had all the stuff anyway. So we just wanted a shower, really.
What's a typical day when you've got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old? I think all of us know what a typical day is for like a regular bike tour, but I just can't even conceive like how long does it take to get started, and then how many breaks do you take? How long of breaks do you take? How long do you go for a day as a whole?
Our aim was to get up early and just to kind of smash out as many kilometers as we could, because you probably know kids' moods are so much better in the morning, and they're just so much easier to kind of sit there, I suppose. But we'd kind of do the most of it before lunch, and then we'd have lunch and we'd sit down and we'd let our daughter go to a play park. We'd always stop somewhere where there was somewhere that she could do something, and then so they'd be busy, and so we'd eat, and then afterwards we'd kind of finish it and we'd usually try and be done at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just so that it was okay, now we can relax, put the tent up, and then just chill and do what they wanted to do. But if you think about it, it was really just going on a road trip, because they were in little seats in the back and they were kind of watching the world go by. And we'd stop. It wasn't always kind of, as I say, we do this and we do that every time. Obviously, things go wrong. Everything went wrong. We had flat tires and everything didn't move. But for the most part, it went to plan. But
and then sometimes on big car trips, no matter what happens, the kids just aren't in a good behavior. So that's when the audiobooks come out. If that fails, then a movie comes out. Did you have to resort to that, or were your kids just these perfect kids that were just enjoying scenery going by? I'm starting to get really jealous because
no, the one's just woken up now, so she's down.
Yeah, that's why I got off a minute ago. But we had the iPad as an emergency resort type situation, because we were just okay, there has to be something, there has to be something that keeps her going for the last few hours or so. But we also had just we had so many toys, didn't we? Just most of the trailer was things to do. And luckily our daughter absolutely loves drawing and colouring, so she was doing that a lot of the time. And because he was only 11 months, he was just either asleep because of the motion, it just made him sleep so much, or he was kind of just watching what our daughter was doing, or obviously there would be times when he was quite moany and we'd stop every so often. But it went, maybe now I'm looking back with the rose-colored glasses, and at the time I would have been no. But
some days were tough. Some days, they weren't getting on, or it was hot, and they were hot and sweating there.
That's true.
Some days were tough, but if you go away for 3.5 weeks with your cycling or driving or staying in a hotel for 3.5 weeks, you're gonna have tough days.
Yeah.
So one thing I always find really tough is getting kids to sleep in tents, especially in summer. You were fairly far north. Was that something that was a challenge for the kids, or did that go swimmingly and they were sleeping regularly?
I didn't think it was a challenge because we didn't make it a challenge, so we didn't have the time. We were let's not put these kind of things on ourselves. If we start saying you have to go to bed at this time, it would have just made us stress and them stress. So they just fell asleep when they kind of obviously with the baby, it was I was breastfeeding him, so I would just feed him and then he would just fall asleep, and then our daughter would just kind of stay up and listen to us talking when she.
And they were fairly tired by the end of the day. Although they'd been sitting down in the trailer, they'd be getting in and out and going to play parks and going in shops and sort of adventuring, I guess, the whole time, and new places and that. They were pretty. By the end of the day, they help set up the tent,
exactly,
cook the food and lots of tired by the end.
Well, you two are so zen, just going with the flow. I'm so impressed because I've been doing this for longer than you, and I'm still not at that point. I'm when are these kids going to go to sleep? I'm so tired, and it's they've had 4 double espressos and it's 10 o'clock at night, and they're about ready to pass out. You're also traveling with a dog, and I'm interested of the challenge of traveling with the dog. I didn't even realize you were traveling with a dog as well. But we get a lot of people asking questions. Hey, I want to go do a bike route. I want to go do a hiking route. Can I bring my dog? And I don't know anyone who's done a big trip with a dog. What are some tips and tricks of traveling with a dog on a Eurovelo?
I had the dog behind me in my bike trailer, so I made sure in the morning that I ran him on the lead next to the bike for about 5 kilometers or something, or around about that. So he had a good run in the morning.
It's important to say he's a border collie, so he is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's not just like some tiny little like fluffy thing that doesn't really run. Like he is kind of built to be a farm dog, so he's used to that kind of distance.
And then I do that again in the afternoon, and
Sometimes.
he's just one of those dogs that if he's with us, he's happy. And he had a little hole there that you could zip, and he could put his head out of the bike trail and look around. So he, as long as he was with us and well fed and watered, then he's happy.
So going on a trip like this, you mentioned you cycle regularly. You live in the Netherlands, so it's the world's best cycling infrastructure. But did you do any specific preparation for doing this type of trip? Like just hauling a trailer and hauling all the gear. It's different from biking around town to some extent.
We're both pretty active. I mean, I cycle on the road bike regularly, and I'm a sport instructor. That's my work in a prison. So I do sport all day, and Meg's also pretty fit. We did a couple of rides, didn't we?
Yeah, we did like a few test rides. I did with the kids in the trailer a couple times, but I don't think anything could have prepared us for the actual adventure. I definitely got so much fitter as the weeks went on.
I would say physically, because we weren't doing massive distances a day, 50, 60, 70 kilometers, physically I wouldn't say it was too demanding. It was flat. It was pretty flat. So I wouldn't say it was too physically demanding in that sense, more mentally than anything.
But pulling a trailer, I know we used to have a trailer for our bikes with the kids, and riding my bike with some bike packing gear and then pulling a trailer with 2 kids is really, really different. Did that not cause any issues, day 2 or day 3 with just like the different strains on muscles, or were you guys kind of, you're in good shape, you're able to do that right away?
Yeah, I think definitely the first sort of week or so, I think we were pretty sore, legs pretty sore. And maybe we shed some weight from the trailer, from some of the bags. We realised maybe we'd overpacked. So I think the first sort of week or 2, we had to adjust. But all in all, I think we sort of, like you say, you develop it as you're doing it really. By the end of it, you think it's sort of the norm. But I think when you start the first week or so, that's when you feel it, so to speak.
And you mentioned earlier, you guys got a bunch of used gear, including your bikes. And I know I talked to lots of people, and they feel as though I want to do that, but I need to get $8,000 worth of gear with panniers and a great bike, specialty touring bike, and then I gotta get a fantastic child carrier. Using used gear, was there any disadvantage? It seems like it's something everyone should be doing, but so few people are willing to buy used gear for when they get into bike touring.
I mean, obviously, I'd love to have done it with 10 grand bikes and all that stuff. We probably would have made it a bit easier. But disadvantages, okay, we probably weren't as fast or as we maybe could have been. But we sort of didn't have a choice.
Yeah, people do crazy things on bikes that are just don't even have any gears. There's not really any excuse for. Obviously it makes things easier when you have brand new things, but the trouble is if you start saying oh, I can't do this until I have this, you just never will do it because you'll never have enough, And we were just right, we have the necessities, let's just go. We can't just because we did get to that stage where we were right, we need to have this really expensive thing, we need to have the best panniers, all this stuff. But really, as long as your stuff works, then
I saw a good quote when I was trying to set stuff, or we were trying to set stuff up for it, was the best gear for an adventure is the gear you've already got.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfect, really. It sums it up. You shouldn't, what great advertising spin is thinking that you need a $5,000 gravel bike to go and ride on gravel. But these gravel bikes haven't been around since the last sort of few years. And like Meg says, people go around the world on regular bikes, back in the day. And yeah, it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a lie to think that you need all these fancy things to go on an adventure. Whatever you've got is enough. Go out and do it, and then you'll come back and realize, okay, next time I need this and this and this, and you slowly add to it, and it's all part of the adventure.
True.
I love that message, and a big part of what I've been doing the last few years is just trying to buy less stuff, because it's nice to get a new set of skis or a new bike, but then it's like, oh, I really like my old skis, I really like my old bike, and how much better is it gonna be? It might, as you guys say, it's probably a little bit better, but just the hassle of owning more stuff and having to spend the money, and then just the environmental footprint of buying all this stuff, it seems crazy, but if you want to explore the world, having less stuff makes it a lot easier compared to, having a house full of crap.
Yeah. And with secondhand stuff too, like people already have this stuff, like people have stuff that they don't need, and they just give to these places, like these secondhand like thrift shops. We go into a thrift shop and we just found everything we needed, It's already out there. We don't need to be like asking for, demanding more stuff, because it's just already there. You just have to know where to find it.
I think what we're lucky with is that we live in an area that cycle touring is a big thing, and people buy a lot of gear for cycle touring, and then maybe they realise, they go on one trip and they realise, oh, cycle touring's not for me, and then they put it online for sale. So I think that I think that we're quite lucky in that respect around here, that it is a popular thing to do. But maybe if you're living in in the city, America, maybe it's not that big of a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about, reflecting back on the first trip, and if you were to talk to someone who's just thinking of doing a trip with their kids, what are the biggest challenges of doing a trip like this with kids?
Not being able to relax. You're just cycling all day, and then you get somewhere and you're putting the tent up, or you're getting some hotel or something, and then not being able to then unwind and think about the day, and think you just have to be going 24/7, and it does get a lot.
I think we put that on ourselves, or I put that on us. I planned a route of like 1,000 kilometers to do in 3.5 weeks, which was crazy. In 3.5 weeks you should maybe do, I don't know, a 600 kilometer cycle, and my advice would be, say, cycle 2 days, rest 2 days, and go on that sort of thing, or cycle 2, rest 1. Make sure you've got a rest day in there, because it's your holiday. It's your big summer holiday. You need to be relaxing as well, which we were at the start. And then as time went on, I was looking at it and thinking, oh, we need to get to Zurich by this day, because that's when our training back is. Now we've got to increase the pace and that. So I definitely say, whatever distance you're thinking of, dial it back. If you're thinking about enjoying it, dial the distance back, and take the time.
On kind of the flip side, having done one of these, what are the benefits for you as a family having done this 1,000 kilometer, 3.5 week journey?
Just like so many. Well, like I was saying before, the experiences that our 5-year-old had, where she was meeting all these new people, because she was a bit of a COVID baby. So a lot of her toddlerhood was around COVID times, and she didn't really get out much and see other kids. Then we moved countries. We moved from the UK to the Netherlands. So there was all these kind of big things happening, and she was just like kind of with us, wasn't she? She was like part of the bubble. And then doing this tour, I think she just saw the world open up a bit more, and realized like the kind of new people weren't always scary as well, because that's something that she struggles with too, a bit like, I suppose, timidness sometimes towards new people. But so that was really amazing and enriching for her. The baby was just happy to be with us. He was just loving it, to be honest. Like, he was just absolutely filthy all of the time.
I think what you said earlier is, you can be led to believe nowadays that sort of people out there in foreign countries are bad people, and you should be scared of them, and anyone who doesn't speak your language is a threat. Whether, we want to show our kids it's the opposite, and 90% of the people out there are good people, and they'll take you into their home, and they'll feed you and look after you, and we do the same to other people. And so I think that was a big thing for us, to show our oldest that people are generally good people. And the world's out there, and go explore it.
Yeah, I always think traveling is, for me personally, one of the best educations I got was just exploring different cultures and people, and understanding, they solved the problem we have back in Canada, totally different, but it works. And, you just learn, there's, we all kind of grow up thinking, this is the way the world should work. And as you travel, if you have an open mind, you realize it's different. I think when you can give your children that, it's just so valuable that, they can't learn that in school. Looking into your next bike tour, I assume there will be a next one, but are there any big changes you would do? And, what are some of the mistakes you made as a first timer?
So many. I think the mistake that still annoys me to this day is we had, so the dog bike trailer that we took, it didn't come with like any waterproofing at all. And we knew it was going to rain. Like, it's Europe, like it always rains. So I handmade this waterproof cover for it, and I spent ages customizing it to the dog trailer, and I was so proud of it, and I was really excited to take it. And we left it at home. For the first week or two, everything was just getting soaked, and it was so irritating. So I think the big thing is make sure everything is completely waterproof. But yeah, can you think
as to what we'd like to do next? I mean, I'd like to cycle every country in the world. I'd like to cycle around the world with the kids. But I don't know when we're going to cycle that.
Yeah.
But the Eurovelas are amazing. It's an amazing system that's been created that, there's these routes all over Europe that are connected with sort of cycle paths and rivers and roads. And so I'd like to tick off more of them.
Yeah.
I'd like to go up north towards sort of Norway, Sweden, Denmark. Cycle there. So
I think it's more hilly.
yeah. I think we'll stick to rivers for now. It's flat.
But mistakes wise, I think.
Yeah, I think as the kids get older, I think a different our setup now was what it was. But I think next time we'd maybe look at a setup with a kid on the bike as opposed to pulling them both. Yeah. Would I take the dog next time? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, it's another sort of thing to think about.
I think also a really big thing that we would probably change, we were saying this almost every day, was to allow more rest days, just so you can enjoy where you are as well. You were almost cycling every day, especially towards the end. We just didn't have any breaks really, and it would have been nice to be able to just kind of stop and look around a bit more
than we did.
We just had so much going on all the time, as you can imagine, with the two kids and the dog. We were just literally just on survival mode sometimes, that we just didn't manage to kind of enjoy it as much as I wish we could have. So yeah, I think next time plan more rest days.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier the superpower of parents traveling is finding the local park, and that's the only time to get peace and quiet. You talk about tranquility, and I always hope, the tent's up, let's just read our books, let's look at the lake, let's just chill out, and then the kids go crazy. But when they go to the play area, then you kind of just sit there and you look at all the other parents, and we're all we've just been beaten up looking at these kids who are still running around. And that's on a bike tour. It's even more powerful because they've been in their chariot all day. This has been great. You've been super inspirational to me, who's never done this with the kids. And I'm going to see if I can get one overnight this next summer with the kids. See if we can, because all our kids can ride bikes. And you've inspired one person with this, and just the approachable ethos of, you don't need $1 million. Just take what you got and go and give it a go. I think that's really incredible, Tony and Meg. So I want to say thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, thank you so much for having us.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks.
And if people want to follow along, where can they find you, Toby or Meg?
So we have an Instagram, and it's Twigs on Tires. The Twigs with 2 G's. That's the surname.
Yeah.
And on tires, that's us.
And with that, thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the 10 Adventures podcast. We'll be back next week to explore the world and hear about more epic adventures. Start planning your own adventure by visiting us at 10adventures.com and listen to other episodes of the 10 Adventures podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you find your podcasts.